Back in December last year, I was at my desk in the Barbican office when I was summoned into the Edison room by Greg Wagstaff with, "You're not going to believe this, Paul." Well, it would be an understatement to say that I am not a reactive person. In fact, my wife reckons that I am a bit of a reincarnated sloth. But in being greeted by what I saw happening out on the Barbican podium level stopped me dead in my tracks, and I, of all people, was lost for words. For those that may not be familiar with the Barbican estate layout, these guys are working on the podium level 1, which, as you can see, is approximately 20 metres above Beach Street, where we access our Central Point offices. As well as a pedestrian path, Beach Street also has a steady flow of vehicular traffic. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There I was, feeling sorry for myself with the onset of a chest infection. The weather outside was atrocious. I was up against it to get the HSEQ update out. The company-wide staff presentation was about to begin. I didn't have a Scooby how to navigate my way to get to these guys, and I didn't know what sort of reception I would get from them. So in a nutshell, the reasons for me not to intervene easily outnumbered the need to not walk by. And anyway, a number of people were taking photos from the office, so I could always do a LinkedIn post titled, "You'll never guess what I've just seen." Bit of cathartic therapy and conscience washing maybe. But then I always say too right when I see similar posts when someone, sometimes me, comments, "Nice photo, but what did you actually do about it?" So, jacket on and directions sought, I began my jog, or walk in my case, to the Barbican station, up the stairs onto the podium level, and after about 10 minutes I was eventually approaching the guys who had spotted me making a beeline for them. After I caught my breath, I introduced myself and pointed out the window where I could see them from. I also mentioned that a number of people had been taking photos of their unsafe work and the probability that there were likely to be other photographers on other floors. I also stated that I couldn't walk by and suggested that they didn't need photos to tell them what they already knew was dangerous and wrong. Initially, I got a bit of pushback, and when I asked if they had a risk assessment and method statement, the supervisor told me that they always consider the risks before they start work. "Good," I said, whilst looking over the wall. "Please indulge me. Can you think of any risk associated with what you're doing?" Well, that seemed to do the trick and de-escalated any potential argument. "Look, you know what the estates people are like," the supervisor opened up. "They want everything done yesterday." "I'll stop you there," I said. "As much as I understand the pressure, I've seen far too many incidents where a witness statement has said this. Sure, it can flag up resource and planning issues, there we have it, the root cause, but ultimately, as the person in charge today, it would be you in court saying why you knowingly allowed this to happen, and God forbid, most probably be you explaining this to the next of kin." The more senior in age guy attempted to lighten the severity by stating that he was holding the stepladder, to which I replied, "Well, from what I saw, I think you was more leaning on the ladder while you was talking to the young lady. So," I said, "I'm going to have to ask you to stop your works." And I was really pleased and relieved when the supervisor acknowledged my request and said something along the lines of, "Yep, we're packing up." I thanked the supervisor and his guys for the way they received and responded to my concerns. I reminded them that I could see at least 3 of the street lamps from my desk in case they thought about coming back and carrying on in the same unsafe manner. In turn, the supervisor thanked me for the way I delivered my concerns. As we were shaking hands, the supervisor took pity on my hike back to the office and said he would unlock a gate that led to a shortcut to the offices. Well, with all the serious stuff done, I couldn't help myself and said that I would take up his kind offer only if he promised that he wasn't going to beat me up once we were out of public view. In summary, there were far more reasonable reasons for me not to intervene, but I am really pleased that I did. I may not have saved a life, who knows, but I do know that I can hand on heart say that I didn't walk by. And if I can do this, not as a health and safety professional, then everyone can and should.